While not being Afro-Latino, John Leguizamo has called out Hollywood for its colorism and racism. I am going to explain John's story more in detail, but first, thank you to my friend Gabby P for the video suggestion. I appreciate you. Now, let's discuss. If you do not know who is John Leguizamo, he is an American actor, comedian, producer, playwright, and screenwriter. He was born in Colombia but immigrated with his family to New York City at the age of 4. He and his family lived in various neighborhoods in Queens. Now, John's father called out his son for allegedly lying on his heritage in a 2011 Diario La Presa newspaper. His father suggested that he is Colombian, not Puerto Rican.
Oh my God. Oh, so where are you from originally? Where were you born?
I'm Colombian, Puerto Rican.
Colombian, Puerto Rican.
Colombia.
Okay. Do you still have family in Puerto Rico?
So one thing I find interesting about the Latino community is it's a big umbrella. So you have people with different origin stories. You're Colombian, Puerto Rican. You have.
Most recently, in July 2021, John Leguizamo admitted, well, he didn't admit it. It was more like he confirmed that he identifies as Colombian and Puerto Rican, and he even said that he has family members in Puerto Rico. But since his father does not consider himself as a Puerto Rican, I'm going to respect his heritage, even though his son claims that he's Puerto Rican and Colombian. Why am I talking about Encanto Star John Leguizamo? Leguizamo spoke to the Academy Awards Scene series about colorism and racism in Hollywood. He states, "I posted Oscars so white, but Hollywood's even whiter," Leguizamo said. There's colorism within Latin culture that we have to fix, but there's colorism in Hollywood too. I benefited from being light-skinned. The "When They See Us" actor continued, "I stayed out of the sun so I could work. I definitely would not go in the sun for years. It was a cautious thing because I could work. And all of the Latinos that made it so far, a lot of them were all light-skinned. What happened to all the Afro-Latinos and the majority of indigenous Latinos? They don't get a shot, So there's a lot of things we got to deal with in Hollywood, and we got to fix, and we got to speak out, and we got to speak up." I agree with John. He's absolutely right. We need to make a change in Hollywood. I give him props for addressing the situation because we need to talk about it. Hollywood has a colorism problem and racism. Let me correct that. Colorism and racism. You guys already seen a few of my videos addressing this. Within the Latino culture, we need to change numerous things, and I appreciate him for opening up a conversation on this topic and sharing his story. Now I can see that it's not only Afro-Latinos who face discrimination within the community or even indigenous people. Mestizos go through numerous things too because they're not white, Well, they could pass as white, some of them, but some are not white. Like, especially if they go in the sun or within their features. So I appreciate him for sharing his story. The Insider article continues. However, Leguizamo said that he has been told by studio executives that Latin people don't want to see Latin people. This kind of does not surprise me that these executives will say that, especially the white ones. Not saying all of them, but we all know how Hollywood works. And then, of course, it's not only Hollywood, it's also people within the Latino community as well, especially in those high spaces. I do believe in John's stance on what these executives had told him in the past. I do believe this is true. Now it's time to call out John Leguizamo. Back in 2020, specifically on July 28, 2020 at 10:55 p.m., John Leguizamo made a tweet where he states, "Why can't we Latinx have a piece of the pie? We are the largest ethnic group in America and missing as if we didn't exist." John Leguizamo's statement came after he found out that Latino representation was not shown within the Emmy nominations. And it's crazy because last year, Jarrell Jerome, he won an Emmy. And an Afro-Latina woman, she was also nominated too, as well. So it's crazy how he just forgot about these fellow Afro-Latinos. Because last thing I checked, they Latinos too, right? The article states, what's even more complicated is that last year a Latino actually won an Emmy, but he's not being included in all these Latinx inclusion conversations. Afro-Latino actor Jarrell Jerome took home an Emmy for his heart-wrenching performance in When They See Us. John's tweet is sparking ongoing discussion around Afro-Latinx erasure and colorism in the Latinx community because there's been a trend of calls for Latinx inclusion, specifically when the Black community is making progress. The article continues. Another Latinx nominee not included in the conclusion conversation is Nadia Hargren, an Afro-Latina who directed Michelle Obama's Becoming documentary. The documentary received 4 nominations this year, including Outstanding Directing. Is she included as a Latinx nominee? This does not surprise me. When it comes to the Latino community, if you have seen my content previously, you already know that Latinos, not all, some, they do not consider Afro-Latinos the same. It's the truth. They see us as something else. AKA, they specifically see us as Black people just in their countries. They don't see us as we the same. And keep in mind, this is in 2020. Imagine now. The Laney Gossip concludes the article by stating, do we need more Latinx Emmy nominees? Yes, because they're giving Emmy-worthy performances. Can we fight for that without negating the achievements of Black nominees and flat out ignoring the achievements of Afro-Latinx nominees? Wow, that was a read. Concluding statements and the outro of this video. John Leguizamo Encanto Star, thank you for speaking out. Thank you for sharing your experience. I know it was not easy for you to do that, but it's good. It's a starting point for a better change. And by each and every one of us speaking out, sharing our experiences within Hollywood or within the workspace in general, we could make a change. And I believe in that.
Just sort of knew about our land timeline. What is that? Everybody knows that, right? 1000 BC, we had Mayans, and then we have now. And what is this, the age of Pitbull? Dame culo, ma culo, todo el culo, dan culo, todo culo, culo.
Thank you so much if you made this far in this video. I appreciate you. Be sure to follow me on any of my social media accounts. I usually do not, or I haven't done that in a while. I might as well do it in this video. Buy something on my Depop. I'm saying iPhone XR cases with my younger sister. If you are into that, or if you have an iPhone XR, or you know anyone who has an iPhone XR, please tell them about my small business on Depop, I guess. Next week's video is going to be about the Encanto movie. Thank you, and peace.
Night and can do their homework. So we've been doing that. I do a collection.